Welcome guys to a brand new video on Wuthering ways. Now in today's video I'm going to be trying to answer the most difficult question, and that is which limited units should you guys be aiming to get and which should you be summoning for. Now we do know that the second limited character we're going to be getting is going to be Yinlin over here. Now when global launches, the first banner is, or the first limited banner is going to be for Jiyang over here. Now many people are wondering, okay, if I'm going to get one of them, who should I get? Because also the devs have also showed us the characters that are going to be coming in 1.1. They showed us 2 female characters, and I know the community are now saying, you know what, I want to get those 2 characters. And I know a lot of you guys are saying, you know what, to prioritize my resources, to make sure I get a couple of the 1.1 character, I can only go for one of the 1.0's character. So many people are wondering, should they go for Jiyan or Yinlin? Now I'm just gonna say this straight away because I know people hate it if I don't say this, but if you like a particular character, please just summon for them. I don't watch my video just to hate me for saying, oh, get Jiyan. If you guys are a huge fan of Yinlin, just don't do that. If you like a particular character, my video is not going to sway you, so therefore summon for who you want to get. And I think a lot of people, knowing how the gacha community works, a lot of people want to go ahead and get Yinlin because she's waifu and the animations for her are absolutely insane. And can you just look at her? She's obviously beautiful, and I know a lot of you guys want to go ahead and get her. So do not flame me if at the end of this video I recommend you guys getting Jiyan. Okay, so let's get right into it. So Yinlin and Jiyang are actually 2 different, well, surprisingly, they have 2 different gameplays or 2 different roles. Jiyan over here is your main attacker, whereas Yinlin over here is a hybrid DPS who focuses on, support DPS as well as, can go up in front and deal great amount of damage. Now with Jiyan over here, most of his damage are with his ultimate. So one of the most important stats for him is the energy regeneration, so that you can go into his ultimate and do it frequently go into your ultimate and then use his ultimate attack. It's really easy honestly to use Jiyan, but early on, since you're gonna have kind of an issue with energy regeneration, you don't have the best echoes, you don't have the best support characters, you're not going to be able to obviously just use its ultimate every single time. But eventually, when you start playing the game, you get the best echoes, you have a really good teammate. The rotation for Jiyan is actually going to be extremely smooth. You use his ultimates, there's a 6-second cooldown. Well, it's a long cooldown, but the cooldown starts the moment you enter his ultimate. The ultimate basically transforms him, and now his attack is has great AoE damage. He's basically using the dragon to deal a bunch of damage, and then you have 6 seconds, and then at the end of his ultimate, you are basically hoping that you have enough energy recharge. Well, you're going to switch into your next character, complete the rotation, and then when you get back into him, you want to basically have enough energy recharge to basically go back into his ultimate, and that's how you deal a lot of damage with him. Now with Yinlin, it's a little bit different. So let's go ahead and take a look at, we are going to go back into here, go over to characters. Let's quickly take a look at Yinlin. First of all, why can't I find her? There she is. Okay, so with her, it's a little bit different as well. So she's a top tier DPS character. During CBT2, there was a trick actually where you can actually cancel animations and switch. It's called switch canceling or whatever. But if they do change this, it does kind of limit her in a way, or it's going to affect her in a way. So she's an hybrid character. She does rival a bunch of the other DPS we have. Now, in terms of ease of use, I would definitely say Jiyan is the most easiest character to use, honestly. Now, ultimate, like I said, is where his bulk of his damage is, and you just have to press normal attack. It's that simple to use him. Whereas with Yinlin, it's a little bit not tricky, but it's a little bit more harder to use compared to Jiyan. But it doesn't mean it's hard at all. So yeah, she is the strongest hybrid character in the game. And if you take a look at all the pros she has, so she's the 2 ultra deepen buff in 1, so she can buff up your characters. She's easy to play, like I said, but with some tricks you can actually make her deal a lot more better damage. But like I said, I still think Jiyan is a lot more easier than Jiyan, sorry. Doesn't need much energy regeneration, so you can build her more offensively. This is actually going to be very beneficial early into the game where you don't have a lot of good echoes and sets you can give her to help with the energy regeneration. Since she doesn't really rely on that, it's really good for early on into the game, so that's actually a positive on her part. And she does have a powerful sequence, which is basically the dupe. Sequences are dupes, basically, if you guys don't know, that further amplifies her power. So she's extremely strong, and I do think in terms of overall DPS and like longevity wise, I do think she might be the better character to go for, because she does have supportive DPS role, which obviously is going to be better for the future as well. Whereas with Jiyan, he's mainly trying to be a main DPS character. Your main DPS in the future, we are going to get better DPS, like better main DPS. So it means that Jiyan might not still remain as the top tier DPS in the future, and that is something to take a look at. But right now, is of course, his damage is going to be absolutely insane with his dragon. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Yinlin, because honestly, the more I talk about these characters, both those characters, I am leaning towards Yinlin being the better option, simply because she's not only going to provide you with great DPS, she also has supportive capability, which actually makes her more future-proof compared to Jiyan. Because honestly, take a look at every single gacha games you've played, every 1.0 character, they fall short later on a lot more easier compared to any support characters you have. And with her, she is going to probably stay in meta a lot longer compared to Jiyan, in my opinion. So let's take a look at a couple of her supportive skill that she has that is actually really good. So if you take a look at this, where is it? With her outro skill, the next character or other characters on nearby teams that activates an outro skill gains a 20% electro damage deepen, as well as 25 resonance liberation damage deepen by 14 seconds, or until the character is switched off field. And then she also has the resonance chain that actually provides a lot more utility to the team. So where is it? So there we go. When the fourth circuit judgment strike hits a target, the attack of all team members is increased by 20% for 12 seconds. That is another supportive capability she has. And then she also just does good amount of DPS as well. So I'm actually leaning towards her just being the overall better character to go for compared to Jiyan, who of course his damage is absolutely insane. Great damage. You know, all of his damage is focused on his ultimate, but it doesn't mean he's a bad unit, because in fact, if you are able to get that energy recharge, you can stay in his ultimate form most of the time, and that's just going to help you guys deal a lot of good amount of damage. Now if I go over to here, take a look at what Pridewin also says about her. So she's a hybrid character, deals a lot of damage, rivals a lot of the main DPSs in the game. That is actually good. And she also boasts the best deepen buff in the game, so that's actually good. Outro buff in the game, so that's what I just previously mentioned. The outro buff is actually very good. Not only does she does massive amount of damage, but also has insane screen wide range, which again, very helpful for making sure you hit a lot of the enemies. Yinlin is easy to learn but hard to master. So there is a mechanic that people use due to the fact that her animations are longer, so there is a way you can actually shorten it by doing some animation cancel. But if they do nerf this when the official release happens, then it's gonna affect her significantly. But she's still a great character overall. So she's easy to play as well, compared like similar to Jiyan. Doesn't need much energy recharge or regen, which makes her a lot easier to have and use early on, because with energy regeneration, that is something you will try mid-max later on as you are playing the game, get better echoes, better teammates. That is something for late game. Early game where you're trying to progress as fast as possible, you're not going to have the best team, the best support, the best everything for her. So I'm making sure that, well, the fact that she doesn't rely on energy regeneration is actually very good. You can build her more offensively. You don't have to worry too much about, you know, the energy regeneration. So absurdly powerful sequence. So this is the dupe. Sequences are basically the dupes that further amplifies her damage. You don't really need to worry about that. Let's see. She's a top tier DPS character, easy to use, and overall I do think she's a really amazing character. So I do think, again, I will still lean towards Yinlin as the character to go for compared to Jiyan, but I do think there is no issue with you trying to get Jiyan with 1 to 2 or even 3 or 4 multis. And if you don't get him, then you can decide, okay, I'm just going to save the rest of my resources for Yinlin when she actually comes into the game. Or what you guys can do is if you do manage to get Jiyang within your first 2 multi, now you just have to stop. You basically just have to save the rest of your resources for Yinlin and you guys are completely fine. Now what I will personally do, I want to get both these characters. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to reroll. However, what I'm going to try and aim is to get Jiyang within my first 3 multis on his banner. So I'm going to play, if I don't get him within the first 3 multis, it is what it is. I'll probably play 10 accounts at the same time. I mean, log in, go all the way to where you can get your summons done, and then for 10 accounts I do that, and then the next day I get more summons, whatever. Try my luck on the Jiyan banner. I'm not exactly re-rolling for him, but I want to get him within the first 4 multis I do, so that any other resources I get, I can then save it for Yinlin. And let's not forget, they also teased the 1.1 characters, and both of them look absolutely amazing. I'm also going to try and get them. I'm just trying to make sure I don't go balls deep on both those banners, because I still want to get both of them. But if there's one I have to specifically pick, it's going to be Yinlin, and she's the second character coming. Jiyang is going to be already in the game, so I'm going to be more susceptible to summon for him, and I think a lot of people are going to be like that. But the main one I would say go for is Yinlin, in my opinion. That's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more content on Wuthering Waves. It's been your boy AC Gamer, and I'm out.